Blood wasn't hers. The silk bedsheets were still warm when Detective Jordan Knox stepped into the master bedroom of the Dunham estate. Blood stained the ivory floor in lazy pools, trickling from the edge of the bed like red wine. But there was no body, only the wife. Claudia Dunham, wrapped in a crimson satin robe, stared blankly at the detective as if she'd just woken from a dream. Her lipstick was smudged, her wedding ring missing, and her alibi? As thin as the negligee she wore beneath the robe. "I didn't kill him," she said, her voice trembling but precise. "I loved him." Detective Knox glanced around. No signs of forced entry, no sign of a struggle, but the faint scent of expensive cologne, not her husband's, still lingered in the air. Someone else had been here. The investigation unraveled quickly. Claudia's phone revealed cryptic texts from a burner number. "Midnight. Don't forget the pills." Her online search history read like a murderer's checklist: how to fake a home invasion, lethal doses of sedatives, inheritance laws after spousal death. But the real twist? Surveillance footage from the wine cellar. At 11:48 p.m. Claudia entered, followed closely by a man in a black suit and gloves. His face was obscured, but his voice on the audio feed chilled Knox's spine. "Once he's gone, it's all ours." Time Claudia took the stand, media dubbed her the Black Widow of Belmont Hills. She wore a tailored black dress and a diamond necklace her husband had bought, ironically for their anniversary. The prosecution painted her as cold, calculated, and obsessed with wealth. The defense spun a different tale: a battered woman, manipulated by a lover who disappeared the night of the murder. But the final blow came when Detective Knox dropped the surprise evidence. A voicemail, left on Claudia's phone, from the dead husband. Time-stamped hours after he was killed. Turns out, Henry Dunham had faked his own death. An elaborate plan to trap his cheating wife and her lover, a disgraced ex-cop named Vance Mercer. But things went sideways. Vance wasn't playing games. The plan became real. Henry did end up dead, and now Claudia was left holding the bloody robe and a motive thick enough to cut through with a knife. Verdict: guilty, the jury foreman said. But as Claudia was led away in cuffs, she smiled, not out of madness, out of certainty. Because Vance was still out there, watching, waiting, and the game wasn't over. To be continued. Whispers in the courtroom. It had been 3 weeks since the guilty verdict. The courtroom had emptied, the cameras gone, but whispers still lingered in the marble halls of Belmont County Courthouse. Detective Knox wasn't convinced. Claudia's smile had haunted him. It wasn't smug. It was planned, as if she knew something no one else did, as if the real killer was still sitting comfortably, maybe even watching from the gallery. And he was right. Vance Mercer had been there the entire trial. Knox dug deeper. He started with Mercer's record: disgraced for falsifying evidence, suspended for aggressive interrogation tactics, vanished from the system shortly after a failed internal investigation. Now he was back, clean-shaven, under a new name, working as a private consultant. Invisible in plain sight. Knox visited Claudia in prison. "You knew he'd come back," he said. She smiled. "He never left." She leaned in, whispering like a threat and a promise wrapped in silk. "He's in your house, detective, probably feeding your dog right now." Then came the break. The voicemail Henry Dunham left? It had been doctored. The original file was found on a hidden hard drive in a storage unit registered under a false name, Claudia's lover's name. On the original, Henry says, "Claudia, I'm scared. He says if I don't transfer the money tonight, he'll kill us both." That changed everything. Now Claudia wasn't the Black Widow, she was the bait. Mistrial declared, and suddenly the courtroom was full again. Vance Mercer's name was read aloud in court, a warrant was issued, but he was already gone. A seat in the courtroom gallery sat empty, with a note taped underneath it, scrawled in ink that bled like blood. "Catch me, Knox, if you can." 1 month later, Claudia Dunham was released. She exited the prison gates in the same crib she was arrested in, like a phoenix dressed for revenge. Waiting for her, Detective Knox. In his hand, a file. Inside, Vance's latest alias, a photo and a plane ticket. He handed it to her. No badge, no laws, just you and him. She took it without a word. They both knew what came next. To be continued. Next, the chase, Rio de Sangre. Claudia hunts the man who ruined her life. But what happens when she finds out she was never the only one? Claudia Dunham landed in Rio under a fake passport and a new name, Isabella Rojas. The air was hot and heavy, like the tension in her chest. Vance was here. The file Knox had given her was thick with movement, bank withdrawals, security footage, aliases, but it was the last page that chilled her. Vance Mercer had remarried. The woman? Detective Knox's sister. Chapter 11. The hunt begins. She tracked Vance to a secluded estate outside the city. Tropical jungle on all sides. One road in, none out. But something was wrong. She broke in easily. Too easily. Inside, the place looked lived in but empty, like someone had left in a hurry. Photos of Vance and Knox's sister were everywhere. Happy, laughing, until Claudia found the photo behind the photo. An ultrasound. Her name scribbled in black ink. Claudia's baby, 8 weeks, terminated. She dropped the frame. Her hands shook, but not from sadness, from rage. Gunfire lit the night. Vance didn't run. He ambushed. The jungle exploded with muzzle flashes. Claudia ducked, rolled, fired back. She clipped his shoulder, but as she closed in, gun drawn, ready to end him, Detective Knox stepped out from the shadows. "Don't," he said. "Not to her. The truth bleeds." Knox had been playing both sides. Vance was his half-brother. The plan? Frame Claudia, claim the estate, and disappear together. But Claudia flipped the game when she refused to die. Knox leveled his gun. "You weren't supposed to make it this far," Claudia smiled. "I wasn't supposed to love him either." She tossed the gun, then pressed a button on her wristwatch. Live stream, active. Everything they said, everything they confessed, broadcasted to the cloud, shared with 5 journalists in the DA's office. Knox turned pale. Vance collapsed from blood loss. Claudia walked away. 6 months later, a villa on the Amalfi Coast. Waves crash, sun glows, wine breathes. A man pours her a glass. Detective Jordan Knox, alive, smiling. "You didn't kill me." "No," Claudia said. "I killed who you were." He sat beside her, close, too close. "You still want revenge?" She clinked her glass against his. "No, I want partnership." She slid him a folder. Inside, a new mark. New money. New gained.